welcome to another video, and this one will be a little bit different. We were gonna be talking about this book called How to Win Friends and Influence People, and for this video, we're just only gonna talk about chapter 1 and what I got from it. So let's see. How to Win Friends and Influence People the author is by Dale Carnegie. And basically it just talks to you about kind of like the psychology of people's minds and stuff. To sum it up, basically. And how to form and create good connections with other people. So in the first chapter, as I'm looking through this, oh my god, where is it? Part 1, Fundamental Techniques in Handling People. So on the first page, if you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. To be honest, I kind of don't get it. This is my first time reading this book, so I only understand like when it straight up tells you. So let's see. There was one thing I already read this chapter, and it talks about the president, Abraham Lincoln, and he has this one quote from here that the author wrote down. Let's see if I could find it. Let's see. Oh my god. I should have made this more organized. Let's see. One can anticipate. So when you think about it, when we are dealing with people, we should try to remember that we're dealing with people that usually use emotion to interact. Oh my god. Anyway, we're dealing with people. Let us remember we are not dealing with creatures of logic. We're dealing with creatures of emotion. Which basically means you really shouldn't think so like hard about it. At least that's what I'm getting from it. And let's see. Oh wait, there's also another one. So by Benjamin Franklin, he says, I will speak ill of no man and speak all the good I know of everybody. And after it says, any fool can criticize, condemn, and complain. And most fools do. But it takes character and self-control to be understanding and forgiving. So basically what it's saying, if you want to make more meaningful connections, and friends, or more meaningful connections, you gotta be able to have some character and self-control to be understanding and forgiving. And then right after it says, a great man shows his greatness, said by Carlyle, by the way he treats little men. So like, let's say the army back then you got the general. If the general treats his men like shit, how you think his men or his subordinates gonna feel like? They're gonna feel like he's not worth fighting for, or not worth even like listening to. And then you got the general who's more kind, forgiving, and understanding. And then those his subordinates would feel like there's something that would just make them want to follow him instead. And then it leads to like basically like victory and stuff. And then the one who doesn't treat his subordinates with like kindness and is not forgiving and punishes his troops betray him, no doubt. And like it just straight negative, or what do you call it? I don't know. But yeah. And then I still haven't found the one I meant to find. Let's see. And you got one here. We're just talking about a father and a son. Which basically, the father, like a typical father back in the day, just worked, took care of his son, like his needs and stuff. But this this is like a typical. This is like typical. And then we should try to get better in this type of skill. So as all of us know, we always get scolded by our parents for like doing anything wrong, right? So in here it says, I scolded you as you were dressing for school because you gave your face merely a dab with a towel. I took you to task for not cleaning your shoes. I called out angrily when you threw some of your things on the floor. At breakfast, I found fault too. You spilled things, you gulped down your food, you put your elbows on the table, you spread butter too thick on your bread. Like all of these nitty gritty stuff. And this kid is only like a boy and not a man. And then as the father realizes this, he realizes he's training this little boy who's like 5 or 8 years old like a man and treating him like one, even though he's just a boy. And then as he knows that, sorry, I'm just rereading it. Hmm. And then, as the father recognizes his mistakes, he says, nothing else matters tonight, son. I have come to your bedside in the darkness and have knelt there ashamed. It is a feeble atonement. I know you would not understand these things if I told them to you during your waking hours, but tomorrow I will be a real daddy. I will chum with you and suffer when you suffer and laugh when you laugh. I will bite my tongue when impatient words come. I will keep saying as if it were a ritual, he is nothing but a boy, a little boy. So that was the first principle. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. And that's the end of that. Then we're on number 2, the big secret of dealing with people. Let's see. So in this chapter, I believe is about focusing on what people want and not what you want. So in this first 2 pages, hold on. It says, so like that, the end of page 1 of part 2 or chapter something 2 is, it says, some of the things most people want include health and the preservation of life, food, sleep, money and the things money will buy, life in the hereafter, sexual gratification, the well-being of our children, and a feeling of importance. So as these things are listed down, most of these things are actually met in life, except for one, and I'll get to that later. So wait now. So Lincoln, now we're getting back to Lincoln, began a letter saying everybody likes a compliment. By the way, I'm just reading this from the book. So William James said, the deepest principle in human nature is the craving to be appreciated. He didn't speak, mind you, of the wish or desire or the longing to be appreciated. He said the craving to be appreciated. Here is a gnawing and unfaltering human hunger in the rare individual who honestly satisfies this heart hunger will hold people in the palm of his or her hand, and even the undertaker will be sorry when he dies. The desire for a feeling of importance is one of the chief distinguishing differences between mankind and the animals. To illustrate, when I was a farm boy out in Missouri, my father bred fine Duroc Jersey hogs and pedigreed white-faced cattle. We used to exhibit our hogs and white-faced cattle at the country fairs and livestock shows throughout the Middle West. We won first prizes by the score. My father pinned his blue ribbons on a sheet of white muslin, and when friends or visitors came to the house, he would get out the long sheet of muslin. He will hold one end, and I will hold the other while he exhibited the blue ribbons. The hogs didn't care about the ribbons they had won, but father did. These praises gave him a feeling of importance. As in the list, hold up, in the last thing right here, it says a feeling of importance. You guys can read backwards, right? On to the next page. Actually, should I just leave it at that? Nah, I'll try to see if I can find more. And when you think about it, without this feeling of importance, civilization as a whole would not be where it is it's at now. So like, let's see. And apparently, to the author, if our ancestors hadn't had this flaming urge for a feeling of importance, civilization would have been impossible. Without it, we should have been just about like animals. It was this desire for a feeling of importance that led an uneducated, poverty-stricken grocery clerk to study some law books he found in the bottom of a barrel of household plunder that he had bought for 50 cents. You have probably heard of him, grocery clerk. His name was Lincoln. To be honest, I did not know that. This is my first time hearing this. That's crazy. The president was in poverty, and he decided to get books that were like 50 cents, and now now we know him as President Lincoln. He's at where's that statue at? Is that statue at Washington D.C.? I think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. And now for a feeling of importance. It was this desire for a feeling of importance that inspired Dickens to write his immortal novels. This desire inspired Sir Christopher Wren to design his symphonies in stone. That's crazy. And at the same time, because of this human nature of wanting to feel important, you got this same desire that many boys and girls choose to join gangs and engage in criminal activities. The average young criminal, according to E.P. Mulrooney, one-time police commissioner of New York, is filled with ego, and his first request after arrest is for those lurid newspapers that make him out a hero. The disagreeable prospect of serving time means remote so long as he can gloat over his likeness, sharing space with the pictures of sports figures, movie and TV stars, and politicians. That's crazy. And then in this last paragraph on page 18, it says, if you tell me how you get your feeling of importance, I'll tell you what you are. That determines your character. And that is the most significant thing about you. And then he says, for the example, John D. Rockefeller got his importance by erecting a hospital. To erect a modern hospital in Peking, China, to care for millions of poor people whom he had never seen and never would see. See, and that is a more noble cause of like wanting the feeling of importance, to do good in the world, as in what I said in what this book said earlier. Boys and girls join gangs to engage in criminal activities that in the end, as we all know, will just go downhill in the end, and possibly end their own lives. Like if they kill themselves or something kills them, or you could say because they wanted to feel important and they wish they never got, they joined the gang and the gang killed them. And so, damn, that's kind of sad. And that's why it's important. That's why it's important to treat people good and stuff. And yeah. Okay, that's like about it. I wish. Let's see. And also, having a girlfriend or wife. So we all have this thing. Well, not all of us, but if you guys have a girlfriend or you don't, but if you get one, you should always try to make her feel important, of course. And always always make sure she is loved by you and other people. And just be supportive and stuff. If that makes sense. I'm not really good at explaining, but I just wanted to say that because this part right here reminds me of something I remembered. I'm not gonna lie. Hmm. Hmm. Why do these people go insane? I put that question to the head physician of one of our most important psychiatric hospitals. This doctor who has received the highest honors and most coveted awards for his knowledge of the subject, told me frankly that he didn't know why people went insane. Nobody knows for sure, but he did say that many people who go insane find insanity for a feeling of importance that they were unable to achieve in the world of reality. That he told me this story. I have a patient right now whose marriage proved to be a tragedy. She wanted love, sexual gratification, children, and social prestige, but life blasted all her hopes Her husband didn't love her. He refused to eat with her and forced her to serve his meals in his room upstairs. She had no children, no social standing. She went insane, and in her imagination, she divorced her husband and resumed her maiden name. She now believes she has married into English aristocracy, and she insists on being called Lady Smith. And as for children, she imagines now that she has a new child every night. Each time I call on her and says, "Doctor, I had a baby last night." Life once wrecked all her dream ships on the sharp rocks of reality, but in the sunny fantasy isles of insanity, all her barkentines race into port with canvas billowing and wings singing through the masts. And yeah, as I read from this page 20 of this book, that's why you should basically treat your girl or wife, or I don't know. It's kind of weird to talk about. I'm only like 16, bro. But I do have a girlfriend. So yeah, you gotta make sure, you guys be satisfied. You gotta make sure you're satisfied, she's satisfied. Because as it says again, I'm gonna repeat, she wanted love, sexual gratification, children, and social prestige. But life blasted all her hopes. So like, because she wanted all these things, but she didn't get none of it, she basically lost all hope in life just because she didn't have these things. Especially when her husband didn't even love her and refused to even eat with her. That's crazy. And forced her to serve his meals in his room upstairs. She had no children even though she wanted some, or wanted one. No social standing. She went insane, and in her imagination, she divorces her husband. Imagine you're dating someone, right? And they imagine they're breaking up with you because how like trash you are. Oh. And yeah, that's about it for this type of thing. And I'll keep on looking through this book. I wanted to find